I'm running for Congress, U.S. Congress in Minnesota's First District here in southern Minnesota.
And just so everybody knows your name.
Sure, my name is Lars Johnson. I live in Rochester, Minnesota, and I'm running as a party-free candidate.
Okay. So now, is that the same party as what Stephen Wilson was running for, or is that different?
Well, there are 4 candidates in the race, 3 with major parties, and I've decided to not affiliate with a party. So I'm an independent, but that gets a little confusing in this race. So I will show up on the ballot as your party-free candidate, meaning I have no party affiliation.
So Stephen Wilson is part of the independent party?
Independence.
Independence
party.
Party.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's
okay.
correct.
But
so,
not in any affiliation with your party free.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, why did you choose to not go with the party?
That's a good question, and it really took some thought. And I decided on purpose that once, from my perspective, once you sign on with a party, you should really adopt the whole platform as it's written. I see that most of the candidates don't 100% adopt their platform that the party has put together for them. And I think it's going to be fair to say that I'm the only person on the ballot who will actually stand 100% behind my platform. I made it up. I'd better stand behind it. So everything is there for you to find. It's at www.runlarsrun.com. That's where you'll find it. I want to be as transparent and open and as honest as possible about my positions. When you have parties, sometimes we get the feelings that the parties are designed to make people do things. And I'm not about making people do things. My mission is to help ask the question, is the federal government obeying its job description? I look at the U.S. Constitution as a job description for the federal government. And we need to be asking the question, is it staying within its boundaries? I don't see either party asking the question and holding it to those boundaries.
Okay. Just 1 second, I need to make an adjustment on the camera, I just remembered. Okay. And the reason, one slight adjustment. It won't be a big deal at the beginning. So, not having a party affiliation, since people do sort of, do you see that as a challenge as in people understanding your platform and communicating your platform, since Republicans typically represent certain interests and Democrats represent an interest, and of course when I interviewed Stephen Wilson with the Independence Party, you know, he talked about their major focuses on the national debt. I mean, what is your platform?
Well, every party has, you know, some really key points that are worth adhering to. But one thing I find with many, even very, very adherent party folk, is that they get frustrated. They vote for what they think they're going to get, and they have become disillusioned. Most of our district is unaffiliated voters. So they're looking for somebody that's outside the box. They're looking for someone who's going to mix and match the things that they are very passionate about.
So what would be your platform from a standpoint of, you know, you want to focus on education, healthcare,
sure,
as you go down the list?
You know, the primary question for my campaign, the primary focus is that the U.S. Constitution is actually a job description for the federal government. So if there aren't things listed in the Constitution that the federal government was designed to do, my position is that it shouldn't be doing those. Does that mean that all the programs that are additional need to go away? Not necessarily, but the states need to wrangle with whether or not that should be part of their own policy and their own structure for their state governments. So a lot of the questions that really have become national issues should now become state issues. And when we can do that, we're going to be scraping programs off the federal plate. When we can scrape programs off the federal plate that don't belong there, we don't need to staff for them. We don't need to tax for them. we don't need to spend for them. That should leave that money within the state of Minnesota and within the other 49 states, and we should have a lot more money here in the district that we can make decisions about.
What would be some specific programs that you would say, you know, we need to scrape this off the federal plate and let the state deal with it?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is everyone is looking toward the turn of the year to see what actually happens with the health care bill, for example. How any 2,000-page bill could actually be seen as a good bill, I have absolutely no idea. But nowhere in the U.S. Constitution was the federal government given the purview of taking care of health care. And guess what? Back in the day, there were doctors, there were sick people, and there were people that couldn't pay their bills. But still, the federal government did not see it as their job to take on the responsibility of health care. One advantage of having states look at issues like this, Massachusetts has had some sort of social health care, and they've been struggling with whether or not that's an effective and you know, a cost-efficient way to take care of health care. When one state does it, the others have a chance to examine it, to see if it works, and if it does, great, they can embrace it and they can employ it if they like. But if something goes wrong, the state can abandon it and no other state is the worse for it. When there's a federal program like this health care package, once that's in place, there's no escape, and we can't make the changes as nimbly as the state could. So that's one example of a program that really has no business being on the federal government's plate.
How about education? Anything that you...
Well, from the federal perspective, we want to have an educated public, and I think an educated public is more important than, quote, public education. No state, no city, no county wants to have kids that are not equipped to take care of themselves and to contribute to the community. But once again, the federal government was not charged with managing education. That was to be left to the local people. And that's why we have local school boards, because we want to make the changes and the choices close at hand so that we can make sure our kids are learning what they want to, the way we want them to. One of the problems of having a federal program like education or like health care, pick a federal program. Have you ever seen a federal dollar come back without red tape and without strings attached? There's just no such thing in existence. So part of the grants and the federal monies that come are a way to manipulate local and state governments so that we make choices and decisions and put into place policies that they see as in the federal interest. I'm concerned about the First District and every city and every county and every person that's here. You're the ones that I answer to, not to a federal entity.
How about any sort of foreign policy? Do you have any opinion on that? And how you may weigh in on a situation pertaining to foreign policy and interaction that Congress might have in some decisions?
Foreign policy is it's become really quite a sticky and intertwined issue, and I suppose it means we have to ask, are you talking about peaceful foreign policy, or are you talking about aggressive foreign policy? Are we talking about foreign aid? We've just gotten our fingers into everything all around the globe. It's very costly to have relations that are built all around the globe. And I think that we need to honestly take a look and see, should we be retracting anywhere? We're sending a lot of money overseas at a time when our debt is really out of control. We need to figure out how to keep money here and how to take care of our citizens, our people, let local communities experience some of the wealth that they can, create locally, so that we're not siphoning it off and sending it as foreign aid packages. We're not supporting bases all over the world, and quite frankly, arming a large part of the world. That money could be used for other things.
Another question I have